Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 box office bombs that aged well.
It's alright. I did that.
For this list, we'll be looking at movies that flopped commercially but have aged gracefully. We aren't considering releases that went on to become classics like Blade Runner or The Shawshank Redemption, and the focus will be strictly on live-action films. Which box office bomb do you love? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Bottle Rocket. Nowadays, Wes Anderson doesn't need any introduction. That was certainly not the case in 1996.
When are you coming home?
Grace, I can't come home. I'm an adult.
The director's debut feature-length film Bottle Rocket did well with critics but didn't gain much traction at the box office, failing to crack the $1 million mark. Although not as transcendent as his later films, Bottle Rocket all the same showcases Anderson's unique voice and talent for extracting comedic but complex performances from his actors.
You in the army, yes?
No, I just had short hair.
The movie also introduced the world to Luke and Owen Wilson, both of whom deliver strong showings that compare favorably with their more commercially successful projects.
Time! Ah! Hold on! Jesus!
Number 9. Inherent Vice. While loved by critics, Paul Thomas Anderson films don't usually do huge numbers at the box office. Even by Anderson standards, Inherent Vice underperformed commercially, and was critically more divisive than usual for the director.
Did I miss an episode? I love you guys every Sunday night, 8 p.m.
An adaptation of Thomas Pynchon's 2009 novel of the same name. Inherent Vice is an overwhelming film with a story that will probably leave viewers as confused as Joaquin Phoenix's private investigator.
So what have you been up to?
Escaping, mostly.
The movie is also hilarious, brilliantly acted, and complex in a way that demands repeat viewings. In short, Inherent Vice is a wild ride that not enough people have taken.
I like your necklace.
Number 8. Labyrinth. Jim Henson's final feature directorial effort was, unfortunately, not a success at the box office, despite featuring David Bowie in a prominent role.
Please, where is he?
You know very well where he is.
Although not too many people flocked to theaters to see Labyrinth, the film found its audience through TV and rental services, eventually growing into one of the most fondly remembered fantasy flicks of the 80s.
Oh my God!
Imaginative and rewatchable, Labyrinth is a movie that can be enjoyed by people of all ages. Children will be enamored by the film's puppetry and whimsical tone, while adults can appreciate its mature humor and symbolism. It's also so unapologetically 80s that it becomes charming.
Dance, magic dance. Magic dance, magic dance.
Number 7. Idiocracy. Barely promoted and released to only a small selection of theaters, Mike Judge's Idiocracy died a lonely and sad death at the box office. The sci-fi comedy is about an average guy who falls asleep for 500 years and wakes up in a world overrun with stupidity.
Where's Officer Collins?
Shut up!
The movie received a positive critical reception, and the film's reputation has only grown since then, as its dystopian setting lends itself to real-world comparisons.
A great dust bowl had ravaged food supplies, and the #1 movie in the country was called Ass.
Despite having a shoestring budget for the genre, Idiocracy does a lot with very little, incorporating great world building and visual gags. Also, it's hard to hate a film that casts Terry Crews as the US president.
That's what I thought!
Number 6. Meet Joe Black. Thanks to its international returns, this movie about the literal embodiment of death avoided becoming a huge commercial flop. But that doesn't mean Meet Joe Black was successful.
How do you know?
The film's marketable cast ultimately couldn't convince enough folks to set aside 3 hours to head to the cinema and watch a romance with a supernatural twist.
Can't seem to escape you today.
I'm sorry.
There probably won't be cited as too many people's favorite Anthony Hopkins or Brad Pitt project, but the film offers plenty of goodness to justify its length. For one thing, Hopkins delivers a great performance, while the cinematography is fantastic throughout.
But what should we tell Annie?
Number 5. Dredd. The titular Judge has a long and storied history in comics, but the 1995 movie starring Sylvester Stallone didn't help much in increasing appetite for the property.
I am the law!
The 2012 adaptation gets the character spot on, while delivering glorious over-the-top action filled with slow-mo and the villain Mama stealing scenes all over the place. Unfortunately, Dredd failed to meet expectations at the box office, although it would go on to gain a cult following through sheer word of mouth.
Let's talk. Talk about what, Judge?
Rewatchable and just plain old entertaining, Dredd is more than good enough to warrant a sequel or two.
How do you want it, kids? Body bags or juve cubes?
Makes no difference to me.
Number 4, The Insider. Adored by critics, The Insider is undoubtedly one of the better films of 1999, as it went on to garner 7 Oscar nominations.
You threaten me? You threaten my family?
Based on a Vanity Fair article about Jeffrey Wigand, a whistleblower in the tobacco industry, the movie explores its complex subject matter through on-point performances, particularly from Russell Crowe and Michael Mann's confident direction.
You manipulated me into this.
This drama didn't manage to break even at the box office and nowadays tends to be overshadowed by other releases from the era, which is a shame as the film has aged incredibly well. Even all these years later, The Insider still succeeds in stirring emotions of anger and frustration.
The cat, totally out of the bag.
Number 3, Harold and Maude. A black comedy about the relationship between a disturbed 19-year-old and a life-embracing woman pushing 80. Harold and Maude was always going to be a hard sell, and almost nobody bought it in 1971.
I'm Dame Marjorie Chardin, but you may call me Maud.
Critics were split on the film's merits upon its release, but the movie refused to disappear from the public consciousness and eventually gained a significant following.
Oh, isn't it wonderful? All around us, living things.
It's a celebration of life, one that highlights every part of it, from the joyous triumphs to the devastating tragedies. A beautiful film with perfect acting and more than a few laugh-out-loud moments. Harold and Maude is a timeless tale filled with heart, humor, and Cat Stevens.
Oh, Harold, I am happy.
Number 2, Blowout. While 1966's Blow Up was a hit at the box office, 1981's remake of sorts, Blow Out, flopped despite positive reviews and a strong cast.
Sally.
Sally. Nice to meet you, Sally.
Brian De Palma's thriller follows a sound effects technician who records what he believes is the murder of a presidential candidate, a conclusion that angers certain powerful people.
Because there's a bullet hole in there because he was killed.
Says you, Terry. Everybody else says accident.
Very much a love letter to filmmaking, Blowout weaves a character-driven tale that oozes style, intelligence, and tension. Featuring stellar performances from John Travolta, Nancy Allen, and John Lithgow, De Palma's movie is a gripping political thriller that is as effective now as it was the day it was released. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Steve Jobs. A poor box office showing doesn't change the fact that this is a fabulous biopic.
Gonna put music in your pocket.
What?
Empire Records. This box office flop is just overflowing with 90s teen energy.
You shouldn't come around here singing up at people like.
Only Lovers Left Alive. This vampire movie is unlike any other.
You always have the convenience of the zombies to blame when you get low.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Brazil. Brazil is an absurdist dystopian nightmare that casts a critical light on bureaucracy and corporations.
What did you do that for? That's what you wanted in it!
Director Terry Gilliam's Monty Python roots shine through in the movie's flashes of comedic brilliance and mind-blowing effects, creating a world that feels both painfully familiar and utterly alien.
You must have hopes, wishes, dreams.
No, nothing. Not even dreams.
After a few months of disagreement between Universal Pictures and Gilliam, an edited version was belatedly released to theaters in North America, but it unfortunately didn't do very well. Nowadays, Brazil is well established as a standout 80s film that deserves to be studied and praised for its themes, production, and aesthetic.
Yes, they don't usually make mistakes, but, well, I suppose we're all human.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.